Welcome, Dr. Lauren Thornton. She is a pediatric anesthesiologist at Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital at St. Louis University. She is also a vice president of MS Hardaway Health Systems, a telemedicine company. For those of us who may not know you very well, can you please give me a brief summary about yourself?
I am currently enjoying my practice in St. Louis with a great, amazing group at Cardinal Glennon Hospital. I couldn't be happier.
Thank you. We know that gender bias still exists, especially in anesthesiology. There's not that many women in leadership positions at this time. What are your thoughts on how to overcome this?
It definitely exists, and I've experienced it in my career, unfortunately. I went into a practice that was surrounded by men making decisions. It obviously is difficult when we speak about private practices, but from my experience and my advice, I feel as though academia is where it's improving the most, and especially in the areas of inequality, and they're addressing that. They're putting women in leadership roles. You have those mentors, you have that actual example to see and witness. So I think even as my chair of the department in Cardinal Glennon, she's a female, and she is such a great person to look up to. And I think that my advice is to seek out practices that advocate for women and has a solid female representation in the group, so that even if you see progress there, you be the progress too, and you see the steps that they're taking.
Thank you. That's very important to point out, that prudent to seek out women leaders in anesthesia to be your guide or your advocate. You're one of the few people who identify as Native American and have a very successful career in anesthesia. What obstacles have women and people of underrepresented groups faced that prevent them from advancing into leadership positions?
I think the access to and the knowledge and the experience of seeing someone in the position I'm currently in. And I didn't know until I experienced it, until I went to reservations with physicians, until I actually saw women of color actually taking leadership roles in ASA and really being the foundation. So it's really witnessing and experiencing these actual women in action. So I feel like it was the best opportunities, everything that I've experienced with these women, and I wouldn't change anything, honestly.
What advice would you give to other people of color or women entering anesthesia to help them become as successful as you've been?
Always take care of yourself first, and there's going to be a lot of obstacles, and you have to really know what those obstacles are and what battles to fight, because unfortunately we wear a different type of role and we are seen differently. So how your behavior is, how you speak, how you act, how you carry yourself is really honed in on from other groups. And you really not necessarily have to be disingenuous, but you have to make sure you're representing not only yourself, but the group that you come from. So I always kept that in the back of my mind. You can have slip ups, you can have accountability, be apologetic, but it should be a common behavior to always be representative with grace and be genuine to who you are and where you came from.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's very important. As a person from an underrepresented group, we always represent everyone who come behind us. and we have to put the best foot forward for the next group to come forward as well. What do you think we can do as an anesthesia community to foster the inclusion of people of different races, ethnicities, and cultures, especially into leadership positions?
Well, I actually just took a survey from the DEI of ABA. I appreciated them reaching out, knowing that knowing certain members that are that have these backgrounds, ethnic backgrounds or racial backgrounds, making sure that they address any issues. I think that's the first step, is that recognizing there's a problem, contacting the people that may be experiencing or have the best advice in tackling these goals. And then they are also putting more people, diversity, and having people on these boards. So I think that's the best way that the field of anesthesia is going, by its own board members, so that we address anything that may have been an issue in the past and moving forward with progress.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think it's important to have a more diverse leadership and board directors and all those higher level positions. I think it helps in two ways. And what you said earlier of showing people that we can get there, but also it helps at the high level to address, inequities for the entire organization. What advice would you give to your younger self?
I would say cherish your loved ones you're with in present day, in the moment. You never know when they actually will leave. And also be steadfast and confident in your abilities to do anything and everything that you want to do. No entity, person, or group can determine your worth. So keep that always in the back of your mind. And you are the daybreak. That's my Native American translation of my name, Wacho. So you are the daybreak. So the beginnings are always infinite.
It's a very beautiful translation of your name. In this past year, we have seen our share of personal professional challenges with COVID-19 pandemic. What have you done to prevent burnout?
It's been very hard. I feel like I've changed a lot since COVID. It was one of the most difficult times in my life, because we were in an area where we didn't have much resources or ancillary resources. So, and then the burnout was real. I mean, when you get to a point you're working several hours and you're wearing a trash bag because you don't have PPE, that is very, very taxing on your soul and your spirit and who you are as a person. So I literally had to take a step back and say, you know what, I can't work every single week because of things going on and the epidemic that's growing in front of our eyes. I had to literally say, I need days off. So you have to say, I need days off. You think you have to be in that mentality of working. They need you. No, you need yourself. You need yourself to be together.
Mm-hmm.
So that's my biggest advice, is that you don't always have to work. Take a couple of days, do the things that you want to do. I play the piano, I sing. I hadn't sang in a long time, just even in the car or anything, because of that time. I mean, I wasn't myself. And I finally got my childhood piano up to St. Louis from Florida, and I play it. You have to find the things that hone in on what makes you so happy and do them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's important to make sure you set time for yourself, as you said, and do the things that you enjoy, like music or art or exercise or whatever it is that you enjoy. So yeah, it's very important. And I agree with you. COVID has been very, very challenging for so many of us, working every day and not seeing the end of the day, the end of the tunnel, I guess. It's been really hard. Thanks for sharing your experience. If you had one piece of advice to give to a young attending starting out in the field of anesthesia, what would it be?
Um, Definitely, it is okay to change your path, practice, and goals in your career if you truly are unhappy. We still have the mentality fresh out of training to please colleagues and your superiors. Remember, you have only your patients, your family, and yourself to answer to, so always do them justice.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. That's awesome advice. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining me, and I appreciate your time and all your wonderful advice and your life experience. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you so much, Allison. I appreciate this. It's amazing that you're doing.
Thank you.